Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I have screenwriter and occasional actor. Can I call you occasional actor?
Sure.
Occasional, but I know you primarily as a screenwriter. Sam Gasch is with me. Hey, Sam.
Hi. What's going on, Jeff?
You know, I'm having a wonderful time talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Your introduction requires me to mention that your feature-length screenplay, The Blanket, was an official selection at Filmvasion Los Angeles in 2023. And then your feature-length screenplay, My Dog Loves Broccoli, was an official selection at Sherman Oaks Film Festival last December in 2025. And we have a very selective screenwriting jury, and that puts you in above the top 10% of the scripts we got both those years. So Golf Cop, congratulations on being an excellent screenwriter.
Thank you very much.
And anyone who wants to get to know you better and wants to learn more about you, first, there are links in the show notes, including to the podcast. I'm going to subscribe to your podcast, Ideal Remake.
Thank you.
And we'll have a link to Ideal Remake where you talk about what films, well, let's see if I remember this because I didn't write it down, what films could, should, or have been remade.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Those trio. So anyway,
Yeah.
That's your podcast. So people should listen to the podcast before this one to learn all about you and your work. This podcast is what I call a 4 questions podcast, which means you'll be answering these 4, which are name 3 films you love, just 3 favorites. Doesn't have to be the best 3 of all time. Some people put that onus on themselves, but it's pretty tough. And Lord knows we all have more than 3 favorites.
For sure.
Then question 2 is a film you feel is underrated. Question 3 is a film you feel is overrated. And question 4 is a lesser-known film for people to seek out. Needless to say, it was all inspired by a friend who was a professional drummer who just wanted to do lists all the time like this. And and I thought, okay, I'm starting a podcast. In 2017, I'm like, I'll just make these 4 questions the end of every interview. And then I had, like, in my first 5 guests, I think I had 2 or 3 people like talk for more than 2 hours. And I'm like, well, I can't talk on another 20, 30 minutes of talk. So I made them their own episodes right there from the beginning.
Wow.
And 9 years later, I'm still doing it.
They have more to say about films than I feel like I do, so now I'm intimidated.
Don't be intimidated. Those are just, sometimes, and God bless them, sometimes you get someone who's been really looking forward to talking about their work for a while.
Ah, yes. Okay. Fair enough.
So they're like, and I just say, hey, start from when you were a kid. Were you creative? And then it turns out 2 hours later, I'm looking at my watch going, okay, I lack discipline. But case in point, I am lacking discipline right now in your introduction. All right. People check the show notes for Sam's links and stuff. Now, Sam is going to tell us a couple of your favorite films. You want to name your 3 of your favorites?
So it's always hard for me to talk about my favorite films because I feel like it's so broad that it's impossible to pick something. For a very long time, when people asked me what my favorite movie was, I would say Big Fish. And so that's going to be one of my movies because I love Big Fish. It's incredible. It's wonderful. It's about storytelling. It's fantastic visuals, just genuinely lovely. I love that movie. But as I've gotten older, it feels bad to have like such a broad category as favorite that like I kind of try to narrow it down as much as possible to be like, oh, what's my favorite Pixar movie? What's my favorite Marvel movie? What's my favorite Mel Brooks comedy? And like, so I feel like my favorite Mel Brooks comedy when I was a kid was Spaceballs, but as an adult, it's obviously Blazing Saddles because how could it not be? So Blazing Saddles, this incredible Western comedy that becomes a meta-referential comedy about like Hollywood, is also one of my 3 films. And I think that that's truly incredible.
It is, and it does not get it gets credit as one of the best comedies of all time, but it is also a truly amazing film. And Lord, no, look, Richard Pryor co-wrote that.
Yeah.
Literally to get his point of view into that screenplay, and it's actually really quite political.
Oh, it's so political. It's so funny. It's such a good movie.
It's brilliantly political.
It holds up so well. And like, I don't know, man. Like I have such a hard time with like different things, but I have a favorite Western. My favorite Western I only saw for the first time within the last few years. And as someone who grew up in Tucson, Arizona, you feel like I should have a better handle on westerns in general. But like, and there's a lot of different movies that are westerns. Like the movie Logan is definitely a western. And I saw this movie just kind of on a whim. I don't remember what inspired me to sit down and watch High Noon with my dad at some point when I was back in Tucson. And we're sitting down and watching this movie. And as we're watching this movie, I'm realizing that I've never seen a movie. Like, it's an hour and a half long, but it takes place over an hour and a half. It is an in real time movie. And I think that's just so fundamentally incredible that I've always kind of loved that idea. And at some point, I'd love to try to figure out a way to do something like that. And like the TV show 24 kind of does that. It cheats a little bit, and everyone talks about the kind of ways that it cheats. But like High Noon takes place in this tiny little western town as they're waiting for the train with the bad guy to arrive. And this guy's trying to like rally up an army of people to help defend him from this guy who's coming to kill him. And it's so good. I like High Noon. So those three feel like, yeah, sure, why not? Big Fish, Blazing Saddles, High Noon.
And the truth is, they are all both studio pictures that were actually quite experimental.
Yeah,
I
which
mean,
I
I mean,
love.
High Noon does not. You pointed out High Noon is in real time, and it is obviously a classic Western that everyone's heard of. But that it's really quite the rule breaker.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there were people who said, no, no, we shouldn't make that film. And someone championed it and someone said, no, I mean, it's experimental. And Blazing Saddles was experimental. Blazing Saddles challenged the studio system so much that they wouldn't hire Richard Pryor to act in it, even though that
And
was supposed to be his role. That Cleavon Little did an amazing job.
he
But
did.
what does that tell us about the world that this huge star, the studio said no to at that time?
I don't know. It's wild, but I love the movie that we ended up with. So
Yeah.
sometimes you got to work within the
It worked
restrictions to
out.
end up with something.
And I got to tell you, Big Fish is just wonderful.
Yeah.
And people love Tim Burton, and I feel like Big Fish doesn't get the credit it deserves from his canon because
No, because it's one of the least Tim Burton-y movies, but like it's also the most Tim Burton-y movie. So like, but it's also like slightly before Tim Burton kind of like really leaning into, well, how can I make it the most weird? And that you lose a sense of like storytelling once the directors kind of start getting high off their own supply. And I don't know. I love Big Fish.
it is
I think it's a
there is
masterpiece.
there is an arc of directors slash filmmakers where yeah, somewhere along the way they perfect the craft and then things start to feel uninspired.
Yeah,
And Big Fish is both beautifully crafted and inspired.
I agree.
All right, well, question number two is a film you feel is underrated.
This is tough because there are a lot of like smaller movies that I really enjoy. I remember I sat down with a friend this week to rewatch a movie I hadn't seen in 10 years, maybe longer. We rewatched Bottle Shock, which is the movie about like kind of the California wine growers as they're kind of entering the world stage as like top end wine.
Yeah, documentary, yeah.
No.
Oh, okay, okay. There's a documentary too about it, but yes, okay. So Bottle Shock
No, this
is
has
that
like
story, but
Chris
it's
Pine, Alan
oh gosh.
Rickman.
All right, I was thinking of right, but I know it, yeah, because that's when the wine from Napa Valley,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's it's a very fun movie. I think we decided it's a solid B, but the story itself is so interesting and like the actors are doing a great job that like there's a lot of TV moviness about it. This cannot be my answer for this question, but just like I like finding all of these like cool movies. And like a movie I was considering putting for question 4 for like this movie that no one's ever heard of is there's a movie I saw a few months ago called Troll Hunters, which is this Norwegian movie about it's a mockumentary about people track like learning that trolls are real and like tracking down and like finding this Norwegian guy whose job it is to like keep the trolls in check. And that was great. It was really, really fun. And I think that's really fun. So like an underrated movie I'm tempted to put basically anything from Leica Studios, and I think that's what I'm going to do is I am going to go with Box Trolls.
oh my God,
I loved this movie when it came out, and to the point where I was like, I watched it with a bunch of friends, and then like went out and had to buy the DVD. And oh man, I just thought of another movie where I could do the same thing with. But Box Trolls is just very silly, and I want more focus on like animation and children's animation and just having fun and silliness with the medium. And Box Trolls is just so silly. And there's this moment in the credits where I don't know who's voicing one of the other characters, but like one of the two like guard guys is voiced by Richard Ayoade, who I love. And the it's just they're talking about like, can you imagine what it must be like to like if imagine a world where we were animated characters and they were having to like animate and do all these different things. And Leica always takes this moment to show how much work and effort goes into creating these like stop motion animated movies. And it's just it's so good. I love it so much. It's so impressive, and I want them to be able to make movies forever. And I know all of their movies struggle, and it's a shame because so many of them are so good. Ah,
I'm with you 1,000,000,000%. Box Trolls is wonderful. Everything from that studio, and I couldn't have named Leica, but everything from that Box Trolls team has been wonderful and amazing, and they should be as beloved as Pixar is and as successful as Pixar for sure. And
yeah.
it kills me that they tend to be, you know, art housey releases at best, and Box Trolls is amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. That,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I know.
More credit and respect on Leica's name.
Yes, yes, for sure. All right, well, question three is a film you feel is overrated.
This one is also tough because I don't want to badmouth a bunch of movies, especially a movie that clearly everyone else likes. And so, like, part of me wanted to come in here and go, like, oh, Lawrence of Arabia, it's too long. And it is. I first saw Lawrence of Arabia last year. A friend of mine invited me to a screening of it at the Egyptian Theater here in LA. And I got to go see this movie, and I'm watching this movie, and I think it's amazing. It's incredible. Like, obviously, like, they're really taking their time, and you're getting to see all the different scenes. And we finally make it to the end of the movie, and I'm like, wow, it ends on that note. Who knows where we're going from here? What an incredible story. Like, epic is right. It's just so fascinating. Wow, I'm glad I saw this movie. Intermission. And I was like, excuse me? I've been here for 2.5 hours already, and you're telling me now I get a half-hour break to go to the bathroom and maybe try to snag some food, and then I'm gonna come back and it's another hour and a half? What are we talking about? And but like I know people love that movie, and I wanna like have a sense of like respect for like the things that have come before. And I'm not gonna like be hacky and pick a Marvel movie or Star Wars or anything because I love the Marvel movies. I think a lot of them are silly. I was considering doing my favorite Marvel movie be Ragnarok because I love Ragnarok. How could you not love Ragnarok? It's all catharsis for a whole movie. And like I think Star Wars is incredible. I love all those different things. And an underrated movie I considered doing The Last Jedi, which is kind of a perfect Star Wars movie, and the people who don't like it are wrong about Star Wars. So like it's tough for me to come in and be what's an overrated movie. And so speaking of historical epics, I recently for my movie club, we it was historical epics was the theme of the month, and we ended up voting on a movie called Giant, which is James Dean's last movie, and it's another 3.5 hour long movie. And again, that's too long. If your movie's 3 hours long, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. That's too much movie. It's a mistake. And so I feel like what I'm leading towards is I'm a bigger fan of theatrical cuts. And so maybe what I'm saying is we don't need 4 hour long viewings of Lord of the Rings. And maybe I've decided that that's the hill I'm going to die on today.
So
I
what
don't,
you're actually so if I'm reading you correctly, your overrated is the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
yes.
Because I'm with you because I saw them each in the theater, obviously, and then amusingly, I had two friends coming over every Sunday to watch Game of Thrones, and when we finished Game of Thrones, they were like, "We'd like coming here every Sunday. What are you going to watch next?" I'm like, "I've never seen those extended versions of Lord of the Rings." So then we watched those, and I was like, "No, theatrical was better. Like everything that they left out of the theatrical version, I don't really think needed to be in there."
And like, look, I like Lord of the Rings. I've read those books. I've listened to those books. I think they're very good. I also think there should be justice for Tom Bombadil. I think those movies are great and they're obviously phenomenal masterpieces. but it's rare that you'll find me with my attention span being what it is, needing to sit in a chair for 4 hours. And there are people who are like, well, you can just watch it in parts. And I'm like, it's a movie. No, you got to watch it tip to tail, beginning to end. And oh man, that's too much movie for me. I'm sorry. People love it, and I'm happy that it exists for you. But I don't think that should be the end all be all. I'm perfectly happy watching the 2.5 hour version of that movie. It's fine.
All right, and
And as a person who writes comedies, I wonder why that is.
yeah, and I'm going to share an insight that is only a hunch. I can't prove it, but I believe we all know that before antitrust kicked in, the movie studios owned the theater chains too. Each movie studio owned its own chain of theaters. And I
Yeah,
think that's why they had the epic length films with the intermission because the movie studio was making the concessions themselves. They own the
maybe.
theaters. So if you showed 2 hours, half hour break, and then another hour and a half, well, you just tripled the ticket income.
Maybe.
I have a theory. That's my theory on why there were so many films long enough to have intermissions
I
because the
don't
studio
know
was
that I
getting that
agree.
cash. You might be right.
Because I know that there's a lot of movies that were cut to ribbons and like chopped down to be like 90 minutes long so that they could sell more tickets and have more screenings. I don't know that I agree with that. It's certainly a valid theory, but but I don't know. It's also but like because I'm still thinking after the Paramount dictates discords whatever they were, the Paramount decree, the thing
Yeah,
that separated the movies from the movie theaters.
yeah. Made the studio sell them off.
Yeah, you very well may be correct. I just simply do not know.
All right, it was just a hunch, just a
It's
theory.
a good hunch. It would be. I would watch an hour and a half to 2 hour long video about it on YouTube at 1.5 speed, of course, but I would watch it.
I gotta
Four
watch.
hours though is too much.
So really, if we watched Lawrence of Arabia at 1.5, it'd be fun.
Genuinely, I would do it.
I remember
But
loving that
I'm a
film when I saw it
monster.
when I was a senior in college. I watched it on VHS, in the living room with a bunch of college age dorks, and I was like, "Wow, it
Yeah.
really is as good as I've heard."
And
But I was home and
and
I was
look,
comfortable, and if we needed to hit pause and grab a bite to eat, we could. So I honestly
yeah.
can't tell you if I if that made it easier.
Yeah. And like fundamentally, I picked a movie that I do like. I could have picked a movie I don't like Brazil, and gone off about how I just don't think it's that good a movie. But I didn't do that. I picked a movie I do like and would enjoy watching, and maybe if the movies were shorter, I would be more willing to do one of those movie marathons where we watch 2 or 3 movies in a day. But 12 hours of movies, too much movies in one day for me. And I acknowledge that that makes me weak, and I'm comfortable with that.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, question four was a lesser known for people to seek out, but you do it in advance with Troll Hunters?
No, I said I was going to.
Said you were going to.
I have decided that I wanted to talk about a movie called 9 Days. So I have only ever been to Sundance once. I went to Sundance in January of 2020, and it's right before everything shut down, obviously. And just, it's a whole story about what happened when we were there, but we really were only able to see one movie. I wish I'd been able to see Palm Springs when it was there, because Palm Springs is an excellent movie. Highly recommend. Palm Springs is brilliant. But people have heard of Palm Springs. People have not really heard of 9 Days. The premise of 9 Days is that oh, I'm blanking on his name. Oh no. The actor who it's gonna come to me. But the actor is basically playing a character who is in charge of deciding which soul is going to be the one that gets to be born next. So there is a baby and it's being given its soul, and we have a selection of different people vying for the opportunity to become a real human person in the world. And they basically have 9 days to determine which of them is going to be born. And that is the premise of the movie, and it is genuinely wonderful. It makes me cry, and I love it. It has Winston Duke as that guy. Zazie Beetz is in it. Benedict Wong is in it. It's just great. Everyone should watch 9 Days.
Thank you for that because I hadn't heard of it. And Zazie Beetz, I think, is one of the greatest people on earth.
Yes,
And that sounds brilliant. I can't wait to watch it.
it's genuinely very fun, and it's difficult to track down. I have it on DVD because I needed to make sure I owned it on DVD. And yeah, I think it's great, and I hope everyone who watches this enjoys it, or watches this, listens to this, enjoys it.
That's true. Yeah, we are recording video, but that's just for me. I'll watch this. I can watch the video, but we only share the audio.
Yeah, that's okay. It's fine.
It's acceptable. All right. So thank you so much for those excellent ideas. By the way, very funny that we line up on a lot of things, and then guess what? I'm a Brazil person. What do you know? But
Here's the thing. A lot of people like it. He's simply not for me. I don't like Time Bandits either.
fair enough. Fair enough. No, honestly, I love when someone names a film I love as they're overrated and or they just say, yeah, I believe there's value to opinions and disagreement and that we can be friends in
Yeah.
spite of, it's funny because when I told someone that I didn't like Dark Knight, they're like, oh, I'm going to miss you as a friend.
The Batman movie?
Yeah,
Okay. I
whatever.
I enjoyed it, but like it's not the end all be all. I don't think it's underrated or overrated. I think it is rated very well.
There you go. Excellent. Well, anyway, let me do the quick wrap up, which is
Please.
thank you, Sam. Everyone listening, you should go to the links in the show notes and learn more about Sam. Go to the links, especially Sam's podcast, Ideal Remake. Although you were here not as a fellow podcaster, but you were here as a screenwriter because you're. Just mention mention the blanket. My dog loves broccoli one more time. Both were official selections in the film festivals I run, and you're always a delight to have at the festivals. People want to learn more about this podcast, go to discoverindiefilm.com. If you want to learn more about those festivals, go to discoverindiefilm.org. That is the nonprofit. I didn't say this in the previous podcast, but it's the nonprofit that runs two film festivals that are both ranked in the top 100 best reviewed worldwide out of 14,000. I really got to say that every time. But
It's a pretty high accolade.
when it happened, I was just shocked, and I kind of live in fear of dropping off, but we haven't for many years. So, fingers crossed, we care. I think it shows that we care, and people appreciate that. But,
We do.
and that is discoverindiefilm.org, and there we go. And those two festivals, Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion Los Angeles, they did get a cousin born. Just early this year, in January of 2026, we held Film Invasion Lima in Peru, and it was wonderful. I wasn't there. Hopefully next year I'll get to go. Needless to say, it's just, we had it on January 16th, which was just 6 weeks after Sherman Oaks Film Festival wrapped, and 2 weeks after New Year's, and
Yeah.
needless to say, I couldn't turn around and rally for another one. So in 2027, the second edition of Film Invasion Lima will be Valentine's Day weekend, which is also President's Day weekend here in the States. So 3-day weekend. Maybe we'll get even more Americans flying down to Lima next year.
Might be.
And where would I want to be on Valentine's Day other than Lima, Peru?
I genuinely can't think of anywhere else.
Anywhere else. Lima's for lovers. One of the festival runners down there said, all right, Sam, thank you so much.
Jeff, thank you so much.
And thank you everyone for listening.